Hello guys, today's video is different. It's different because today we have a full screen thing going on. We do not have a screen that I'm talking over, just me here talking to you. Yes. So we got something new today. We're talking about making money with GIS, making money with software products, and in particular, especially marketing and selling disruptive products to mainstream customers. At least that's what the book says, right? So I've been reading this book. I've not even read the entire book, but this book is probably the most valuable thing, or at least one of the most valuable things you can possibly read when you have a software solution in geospatial or in something location related, at least something that has multiple niches, multiple verticals. Because look, this book is about crossing the chasm, right? Or crossing the chasm. I mean, I don't even know how to pronounce it. Doesn't matter. That being said, this book has a lot of examples and a really good stories, actually. So if you look at the chart at the bottom of the book, right, we have a few things in there. So there's a few market groups, basically. The first one being like the innovators, which is a very small part of the market. You have the early adopters, you have the early majority, the late majority, and the laggards. So in case you're selling, for example, imagine the smartphone just came to the market. These are our market segments. You need to make sure that you're actually targeting this person right here. So in case you have a software business, it more or less comes down to the same thing. If you come up with something completely new, some completely disruptive thing, you're gonna have to, well, read this book first of all, but second of all, you're gonna have to take that into account. So maybe that chart is pretty common sense. Basically, it's this chart is usually used in like innovation lectures and whatnot, right? I studied geography and spatial planning, but then I also studied a bit of innovation or like business innovation as a minor during my time at Utrecht University. But I found that this chart is what they presented, but they don't present the core of the chart, which is the chasm, or the chasm. In other words, the gap. So there's a gap. When you're actually like selling or coming up with something that is a completely new disruptive product, like a software, like a geospatial software or a location-based software, whatever it may be. Maybe you even have a software around like drones or something. Maybe you have a software around maps. Maybe you have a software around optimizing locations or route planning or whatever, right? Maybe you have something completely different, but either way, it all comes down to the same thing. There's only two groups within your market, and it's a very, well, relatively small piece of the market that actually wants your product at the beginning. So you kind of need to get into the majority, and the way you break into that is by bridging that gap. And this gap, that is the very interesting bit about this, is not something that you bridge quite easily. And that's why there's an entire book around it, right? So if you have a software like Esri is a geospatial or like a GIS software company, right? The biggest one in the world, started in like the 60s or 70s, end of the 60s. Right now, they actually have a lot of clients across a lot of countries in a lot of different verticals. So you can imagine urban planners can use mapping software, city planners can use it, but environmental scientists can use it. That's actually what they started out doing. Then construction sites can use it, architects can use it, somebody who's in logistics can use it, demographic or geographers can use it, demographers/geographers, human geographers basically. They can use it. People who do stuff with soil, like geologists, geophysicists, they can use it. Engineers can use it. So many different niches, right? And these are all more or less related, but there's a whole lot of room for a whole lot of different types of things. So the environmental side, the nature side, the building side, the architecture side, the demographic side, the geographic side, planning, a lot of different niches. And if we essentially take this chart and kind of imagine the entirety of that niche, or like the entirety of people who would use mapping software to be this market, to be this entirety, to be in this chart. These are all of the people that could possibly use it. To get to the majority, you need to first target the innovators and the early adopters, which kind of makes sense, but that's just what it is, right? You don't want to target people who want like a mature solution yet, and you shouldn't even try to build a very mature or broad solution yet because you're not there yet. So you need to niche down to a very specific piece of the market. That's what is important. And as soon as you have that little piece of the market going, you get it going. There's a few clients coming in, new clients come in. You can use the testimonials of that one client or few clients that you may have, and leverage them to get new clients. And that's what Chasm is all about, and that is what that gap that you're trying to bridge is all about. So that's what you should try and do, right? And that's just a very simple and simplistic way to say it, but you should first like focus on one vertical before you move on to the next. You can get the flywheel spinning over a little bit of time. So maybe you have a few clients in, and since you have somebody doing content or somebody at least posting testimonials of those clients, you have a marketing team who makes sure that is being communicated. You have somebody doing customer success for them, and you have somebody doing sales. There's product development, there's marketing, and there's sales, right? So you make sure you have those teams on board, and well, everything will kind of go as planned. Product development being literal development of programming, and the literal client success, basically. Both of them kind of develop the product. Maybe part of it are not even programmers, but more so develop a product as a designer or as a other role. Maybe they have a role in programming, maybe they have a role in product ownership. Could be anything. But you need to make sure that is at least balanced, and that as soon as you've pretty much targeted one, not two, one niche there, one vertical, one solution, that you can make it profitable, but without having to spend too much time on it. You, as the CEO, most likely, you should not have to worry about the next vertical and the next solution and the next thing or the next client coming in that solution. You should worry about the next solution. You shouldn't worry about this solution that is already spinning because you have everybody on your team to already deliver on it. You should just worry about, okay, who is the next vertical? What is the next vertical we should branch out into? What's the strategy? You should just be focusing on long-term strategy. Maybe a little bit on hiring, maybe you even have somebody doing that, but you should not be worried about the cost of toilet paper, and you should not be worried about the next client coming in because you have people working for you. You have people in the marketing team, you have people on the sales team, you have people on all of these different teams, and they do the work. They deliver on the result. They make sure the result is presented, marketed in other words, and they make sure new clients come in, sales. So that is quite simple and a very simplistic way to put it, but that is literally what you have to do. Then as soon as you pretty much have that flywheel going, because well, if somebody actually delivers a good product and you actually manage to deliver your offer to somebody, the next person will come in based on the testimonial that you've properly marketed. And you now have these flywheels spinning and you have the right people in your team, and you can kind of let it go. You can kind of leave it. Maybe you need to make sure everybody in your team is like doing a good job, maybe to an extent, but you don't really have to worry about the entire vertical and like getting new clients. You shouldn't be on the sales calls. You shouldn't be doing the marketing stuff. No, you should just be doing like maybe 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours every week to get or make sure that your team communicates with each other and with you about what the progress is and if it's still working. You, on the other hand, are strategizing about the next thing. What is the next thing? Are we going to hire more people? What is going to be the next vertical we look into? That is essentially how you cross that chasm and get into the majority. Because the majority or the early majority of the market, to get there, you first need to get a flywheel going in one vertical. Because if you have 5 different clients across 5 different niches, say I start out with one environmental scientist firm, or like an environmental science firm, an environmentalist organization, whatever. Environmental organization, not an environmentalist organization, although that is very closely related, I'm assuming. The next client could be an urban planner, and maybe the next client after that is going to be an architect. But you have to do a lot of effort to get a new client in because they're all doing different things and have different wishes, right? Whereas if you're doing everything in the same vertical or in the same niche or in the same solution, you can post a testimonial and new people will come in from that. So don't have a few different clients across different niches who are all like 7 out of 10 happy, 6 out of 10 happy, 8 out of 10 happy. No, get 1 or 2 clients in one niche who are 10 out of 10 happy, right? They'll ask you for more, they'll refer people, maybe they'll become partners of yours. They'll sell your solution for you. They'll become white label partners. Could be anything. But if you don't do that, if you just keep doing a lot of effort, you need to do additional product development because people ask for a different solution. You need to do additional sales and train your sales team better because you're continuously training them across different people and different types of target audiences. You have to train your marketing team because they have to continuously do different things as well. So it doesn't really make sense. You want to target one vertical, one solution, and get into the flow state there. Make sure the flywheel starts spinning. Slowly but surely, you can cross that chasm and get into the early majority because you get the flywheel spinning one by one. As soon as 3 flywheels are spinning, you can jump into the 5th, jump into the 6th, jump into the 7th. And slowly but surely, you'll get there. It takes time, but you'll get there. So if you need any of my help, you can check out my links below. I have a community where I talk about this type of stuff, and I have a offer, a business, AR lead gen agency where I actually help you and do it for you. So I hope that's been a valuable video. See you in the next one, and check out the links below. Appreciate it.